Hey guys, welcome back to the DM and Friends. I am continuing my series on NPC classes that were in the early Dragon magazines. And today's class is a really interesting one because it doesn't look dangerous at all. It's not a dangerous class at first glance. It's not a killer like the Death Master or the duelist or combat heavy like the duelist or as interesting as a bounty hunter and that kind of stuff. Today we're going to talk about the Scribe. And this class is kind of fascinating. It kind of lives in between the lines of a sage, wizard, or a linguist, a craftsman. So yeah, we're gonna take a dive at this. This is an article that was written by Ed Greenwood second, because actually there was two iterations of this in Dragon. Well, in Dragon issue number 3, they did a Scribes. I don't know if it was really an NPC class, but they just kind of described them in more detail. And then it was reprinted in Jester Dragon Volume 2. I'm not going to concentrate on this one. What I'm going to concentrate on is Ed Greenwood's article from Dragon 62, which came out in June 1982, and it's titled "The Scribe," an NPC with the right touch, WRITE. And so yeah, it came out in issue 62, and then it was reprinted in Best of Dragon Volume 4. So I have a copy of this. I also have 62, but in my hand I have this one here. So on page 23, 24, and 25, those of you guys following along, this is where I'm kind of taking my source material is from this article. And kind of when you start kind of thinking about how this is going to work in the campaign, it kind of becomes a pretty interesting, useful NPC. We're going to break it down in this video, kind of like we've done in the past. I'm going to kind of talk about, all the mechanics and the things that this class has. And I'm also going to kind of talk about how it can get into your campaign, preferably your Greyhawk campaign, because that's what I love, and any world, obviously. Also, I want to kind of touch on how I think you could use it as a PC. I don't think it's a good PC class, to be honest with you, but maybe we won't even get into that. But this is definitely an NPC class that maybe the party could utilize it, something like that. But anyways, all right, so let's get right into it. So I'm going to start out with what a scribe actually is, right? So, Greenwood describes, Ed Greenwood describes scribes as being kind of specialists in language, symbols, written magic. They're connected to sages and magic users, right? So, if you look in the DMG, there is the sages that are usually a hired class, a henchman or hireling or just an NPC, but they're not quite the same thing, right? So scribes kind of combine artistic craftsmanship, what else? Knowledge of languages and symbols, stuff like that. Magical understanding of written forms, right? They'll work in things like courts, maybe a merchant company. A powerful organization might have one. A monastery might have a sage, a scribe. And many of them become collectors, of things like, maps, codes, lost languages, heraldry, runes and glyphs, collectors of magic, books and tomes. And in other words, like scribes sit right in the middle of like information, right? Kind of networks in a campaign world, right? So if something important has to be, written down somewhere, the scribe is probably the one that is going to be going to or knows about it, right? All right, so some of the mechanics for a scribe, and I'll try to put, let me see where I would put it. Maybe over here, I'll try to put some charts directly from Dragon Magazine. But, scribes, mechanics, right? So to become a scribe, right, the NPC must have an intelligence of 16, super high, right? A dexterity of 15, which I don't know, I totally agree with that, and a wisdom of 10, so pretty kind of mid-range wisdom. And you know, as far as the intelligence, that's a pretty steep requirement, right? So, and it says in here too, if the looking at this, guys, it says that a character that has a 17 in both intelligence and dexterity will gain 10% bonus experience, right? So, one of the limitations here is once someone becomes a scribe, they cannot multi-class or double class, right? And that's Greenwood. Ed Greenwood describes that the profession just really requires so much time studying, languages, calligraphy, codes, magic, notation, copying text, that they just simply do not pursue any other training, right? So this class kind of represents somebody completely devoted to this knowledge, right? Knowledge work. So the other thing, let me see. Yeah, well, I'll get to that. Scribes, so alignment and race. I'm going to talk about that. Really, scribes can be human or demi-human, right? Including it uses the word including crossbreeds. He says, which obviously are half elves, half orcs. Alignment can be anything, but the article kind of notes that they tend to be kind of neutral alignments, right? So why? I guess because the profession itself, a scribe is exposed to many different viewpoints, many cultures, many languages, and that tends to moderate, extreme beliefs, right? So culturally speaking, I think scribes are often observers rather than zealots, right? Obviously, there can be exceptions. So let's talk about combat ability, right? Obviously, this class is not a combative class, and he really proves it here by what he says. So, and he makes it very clear, right? A scribe is not built for fighting, right? So they can use any weapons or armor, but they always tack as a first level fighter, right? It's kind of weird to see a scribe in plate mail. I don't know how that would be, but no matter what level the scribe actually, it's going to be a first level fighter to hit table, right? That's pretty limited. That's pretty hardcore. But they do, for saving throws, improve normally on the fighter table. So that's an interesting kind of take. So yeah, at a high level scribe, right, is a terrible combatant, right? So that's kind of an interesting design. I don't really know how we came up with that, but it's neighbors are waving. Sorry, guys. How we came up with that, I have no clue. But I mean, it kind of makes sense, I think. So let's talk about magic and scrolls and stuff. So here's where things get kind of interesting, right? So a scribe may use any magic items, not specifically restricted to another class, right? But more importantly, they can read and cast spells from scrolls if they understand the script used. So, like, for example, a scribe may not automatically understand, and he talks about this in the article, an illusionist, a magical spell, right? He has to learn that secret language, right? But they can copy the script perfectly, but they just can't read it yet, right? So they have to be trained. Somebody, an illusionist, might have to teach them the secret language, and I imagine that would be the same for the Druid language. So interesting kind of thing. They can just cast spells from scrolls, right? Any kind of scroll, and that's a big detail for scribes, because copying magical text, right, is one of the core abilities of this class, right? So they can make scrolls regardless if they understand it. So hit dice and level progression, right? So the scribes use D4 hit die, right? Notably, I mean, they're pretty weak with hit points. And their level progression put up here they to get to second level, they're 2250. Just under what a magic user kind of needs. And their level titles are interesting, and I can't pronounce some of these, but level one's a clerk, and then they go all the way up to master scribes, master scribes, scholars, and atlars, higher atlars, right? So illuminators, I mean, really interesting titles. The progression stops tops out at level 12, right, in the table, but advancement continues beyond that at 200,000 XP per level after that. But most scribes never reach the higher levels, is what it says in the article. The article even says that few even advance beyond scholar, right, and very few kind of obtain the name level of scribe itself. So high level scribes are rare figures in the world. So let's talk about spellcasting. Very kind of limited spellcasting here, right? So now this class kind of eventually gains spellcasting of a sort, right? But not till 11th level, which is gnarly. At the rank of Atlar, the scribe gains the ability to memorize 2 spells, plus 1 additional spell for every point of intelligence above 13, right? They learn spells the same way magic users do, right? Through study, right? So, but the spell list is extremely limited, focused mostly on spells related to writing, reading, language, knowledge, and stuff like that, right? And I'll put that list up here. So it's a very, very small list, and they start very late in their career. This isn't at all a wizard replacement, right? It's more like a scholar who has unlocked a small amount of magical kind of literacy, is how I kind of see it. It's kind of how they describe it in the article too. So what a scribe actually does, right? So the real power of the class isn't spellcasting, right? So kind of talked a little bit about, these guys are, transcribers and writers and keepers of knowledge, and they're information control, right? So a scribe can copy magical text, reproduce ancient manuscripts, translate lost languages, produce maps, encode secret messages, forge documents, kind of record heraldry and genealogies. Think about what that means for the campaign, right? So a scribe might be the only person in a kingdom who can, read a forgotten language, or identify a magical rune, or, it's limitless, decode a secret message, that makes them extremely valuable in a campaign, right? Or is a hired NPC. So now in campaigns, right? So now here's where the class becomes really useful for a DM. This is just my thought here. So scribes are perfect NPCs for like royal courts, wizard guilds, like I said earlier, merchant houses, temples of some sort, monasteries, kind of maybe spy networks. I mean, I could see them with the Scarlet Brotherhood, because whatever information scribes, a place that has information, scribes are going to be there, right? So you need someone to decode an ancient scroll, that's a scribe. Need a map reconstructed from fragments, that's a scribe. Need forged travel papers, I mean, that's a scribe. Need someone that knows what this rune is going to be on the dungeon wall from an ancient temple, scribe. So here's something that Greenwood, he quietly kind of implies about them. A powerful scribe could, become incredibly dangerous without drawing their sword, right? So in the article, he says, why? Because they control the information. They're going to control it, right? A scribe could, rewrite treaties, forge royal decrees, create false genealogies, manipulate maps, alter magical texts. You know, in the wrong hands, these guys can be devastating, right? All right, well, you know, so that's the Scribe in a nutshell. You know, my final thoughts on here are, you know, the Scribe is a great example of Dragon Magazine, you know, of something that Dragon Magazine did pretty well. You might look at it at first and be like, nah, but if you kind of think about it, they could be a really viable NPC in a campaign world, you know, and you know, not every important character in the fantasy world, you know, has to be a fighter or a wizard or a magic user. Or, you know, some of them are scholars, right? And you know, archivists, linguists, cartographers, and those characters can drive entire campaigns, you know, and really turn the tide in events in the world. You know, they might be the only person who knows how to open a door in a dungeon, right? Think of it that way. And sometimes that's even, you know, that's even more powerful than your 10th level fighter. All right, you guys. Well, next week, I'm going to continue this series with another NPC class from Dragon Magazine. I'm going to be doing the Jester. And we're gonna talk about that character class that was actually done by Roger E. Moore. So I'm going to talk about that next week. That'll be coming out. So if you're enjoying these kind of deep dives on the, you know, this old school articles for NPC classes, and I'm going to go through all of them. You know, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification button so these, when they come up, you'll see the next one. These are all on a playlist too if you want to check them all out. But yeah, like, subscribe, share, share with another DM if you're if you so choose. But anyways, you guys, as always, take care of each other and game on. Bye bye.